to live up to your expectation. Neither are you in to live up to mine. I don't owe no one, no obligation. No one owes me none, so everything is fine, fine. I said I am that I am, I am, I am, I am. I am that I am, I am, I am, I am. I am that I am, I am, I am, I am. I am that I am, I am.
The treasurer of the NDC, Bernard Isaac, has declined comment on the matter, saying,
serious business. There is a time for everything, and for everything there is a season. So man and man must reason. So I think it's prime time that we address some more issues. Simple information I will use. No rocket science to get you confused. So relax your mind, make sure everything is fine, while I take you down a poetic line. Trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease. That's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain, you now refrain. I remember you say Liberation Day, and I ask, you sure is that you wanna say? Cause you sounded so good to believe. And deception is a powerful thing when you lose your rightful thinking. So we voted for the bling. But you trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease. That's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain, you now refrain. Yellow, yellow all the way is what everybody say. Cell phone ring, man answering. Yellow, yellow, no hello. Teeth get yellow, house get yellow, bus get yellow, man get yellow, even green get yellow, and so says 11-4. When you trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease. That's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain, you now refrain. Old school parables say you know what you have, but you don't know what you go get. So cherish what you have to diminish regret. But what on earth lasts forever? Not even things created by the great Jehovah. So the green grass ceased to grow to allow the yellow vibes to flow. But boy, one song I sing, one bell I ring. If we didn't know, we'd never know yellow would have treated us so. When you trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease. That's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain, you now refrain.
and a good night to Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. Those of you listening locally, regionally, internationally. Of course, it is time for Talking Points now, 3 minutes after the hour of 8 p.m. on the Spice Isle of Grenada. My name's Sheldon Scott. I'll be with you up until the 10 o'clock hour.
Economic recession, the cause of poverty in the land. Economic recession, no employment for the ordinary man. When you trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease. That's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain, All your projects are stuck in a pipeline. But when asked, how is the country going? Oh, fine. We are looking into it. Never mind. Only projects in pipeline. No water to cool down the yellow temperature. When will they start? Please answer that. Oh, soon. Maybe by the next full moon. Although things are turning at a very slow pace, we now run no race. 5 years is a lot of space. It's just a few hungry people in a place and a few disgruntled green people with their vexed face. When you trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease. That's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain. Busy governing, busy managing, busy politicking, busy neglecting, busy inflicting poverty.
All right, so let me say a special good night to you, Mr. Watts, Gemma, Matthew, Caitlin, Natalia, Christine, Stephanie. Yeah, and let me see, Clive is on, Marilyn, Ann Andrews, Devon Lane, Anne-Marie Celestine Grant. You say call your whole name or call your whole name. Good night to each and every one of you, and those of you over on the Facebook page, let me say a special good night to each and every one of you as well. Let me see who is over there. Let me see who shared. Shemi and Janet, Cindy. Yeah, special good night to you. Charmaine, Ibrahim, Dwight, Unison, Maria, Jillian, Langdon, Janet, Shemi, Marilyn. Yeah, so special good night to all of you over on the Facebook page as well. Hope that you all are having a wonderful night. And folks, as tonight we have the phone lines open from earlier, so you could call at any point in time. 440-7377. That's 440-7377. That's the number for you to call and get on the inside. Those of you listening outside of Grenada, 347-329-3101. Let me say a special good night to our listeners via 94.9. That is We Noise Radio out there in Brooklyn. Hope that you all are having a wonderful night. You can also join via their website, We Noise, that's WEINOYZ.com. Yeah, so you could join in case you're having problem with any of the other links. You could always join via that method, all right?
Here comes Fort Judy and Nansapine with $1 million house and brand new car on the scene, while our hungry belly still grumbling. And you trick us with camp.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested. Why are some people so worried all of a sudden? They were running all over the place with these receipts over the weekend about who get money and political party getting money from foreigner and that kind of thing. They were running all over. Yeah? You could have barely go online without one of them putting the documents up and making all sorts of scurrilous accusations. All over the internet. You go on Instagram, it there. You went on Twitter, it there. You go on Facebook, it was there. They had it all over. It was the topic of discussion. Political party get money. But they forget to speak about theirs from 2012. I heard one of the idiotic people, one of the army of idiots. I heard one of them this morning. And they were forced to admit that political parties receive donations. And nothing is wrong with political parties making donations. No, I ain't talking about the female. I'm talking about a male. Yeah, they were forced to admit that. Again, I'm not talking about the female because I realized I saw a video going around. And please, all you do is to send it to me. Oh God, I get about 100 and something time for the day. You do not have to send it to me. It's okay. All right? Nice. Yeah. So, I saw the lady. She asked for exactly what Dr. Mitchell has been asking for and what we have been asking for here, which is you're claiming the Prime Minister of this country is claiming that an illegal act took place. The evidence that he claims to have in relation to that illegal act is a cabinet conclusion, not the receipts, a cabinet conclusion. The receipts do not prove any crime. We have pulled out the declaration by Mr. Tillman Thomas from May of 2012, because it was in May of 2012 that took place and then the documentation was released in June. But we have pulled out that and we've showed you the declaration by Mr. Tillman Thomas in relation to the monies that he received from an individual outside of Grenada. Now you tell me if you believe that somebody just decided they're going to give the NDC that money like that, just so they just give you 50,000 US as a donation. And it found itself in Mr. Tillman Thomas's account. And then it was given to the NDC. Yeah? And he says nothing is wrong with something like that taking place. But here we have the present Prime Minister saying something is wrong with that. Because that's what I'm getting from him. Because as much as in Parliament and outside of Parliament, the calls have been going out for the required cabinet conclusion of $290,000 that he claims exists. That the members of the former cabinet, including and especially former Prime Minister Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, who was the chairman of cabinet, says clearly that that is a lie. There is no cabinet conclusion for no $290,000. None. no cabinet conclusion exists for $290,000. And for one to pop up now, take it to FIU because it has to be a false document. Yeah? And that is what needs to be put out into the public. If you've got the cabinet conclusion as you claim for $290,000, then put it out. Don't try to bamboozle the Grenadian people by putting a picture of Dr. Mitchell and next to it you're putting the receipts, including the receipt now for the consolidated fund. Because people looking at that, whether it is real or not, I don't know the account number, the consolidated fund, I don't know the transfer numbers, whatever. So as far as I'm concerned, whatever has been put out by the Prime Minister could be false. Let me say that again. Whatever has been put out by the Prime Minister could be false. There's the possibility, we don't know. So it has to be tested. But with that, you put out a picture of Dr. Mitchell and you put it next to him. Because you're trying to get foolish people out there. People who don't think. People who just see things and take it at face value. So you see something, you see Dr. Mitchell, you see 3 receipts, you immediately make the connection and say, well, okay, these 3 receipts are him. When that is not true. When you know for a fact that not a cent or halfpenny, none of that went into Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell's bank account. None of his accounts. And if you have information to prove differently, then you need to go to the FIU. Same as your mentor, Mr. Tillman Thomas, has said. If you have evidence of wrongdoing, go to the FIU. But if you go to the FIU just with receipts, where are your receipts? Let's ask that question. Where are your receipts for the monies that you received for your election campaign as the NDC? Did you, Mr. Prime Minister, receive monies on behalf of the National Democratic Congress? Did you receive donations from foreign entities and individuals? Where did those monies go? Did those monies end up on your personal bank account as happened with Mr. Tillman Thomas? Or did those monies go into NDC account or accounts? Because it's all well and good to call another person a thief. It's all well and good to call another person all sorts of names. But if you don't have the facts to back it up, then you can find yourself in all kinds of trouble. And we are saying clearly here that the present Prime Minister, Mr. Deacon Mitchell, is lying when he says that there is a cabinet conclusion for $290,000 that ties the NNP into this nonsense that he's speaking. Clearly, no apologies about it. He is lying. And we realize that last night's program has ruffled some feathers. Because what they do, they're afraid. They ain't afraid. They ain't coming here while we're here. They wait until late in the night after the program, so all 12, 1, 2 in the morning, and they go and they post their nasty comments under the program. And then they screenshot it and say, well, look, we nasty. Look, we giving him in the tail. After the program is done, when I done gone and sleeping or I reading or some kind of thing, because I go to bed late. I read a lot in the night and that sort of thing. Yeah? And that's the hours they're going. Or during the day when they know you're moving about because the program is not on in the day. That's the time that they're going on and they're putting all these sorts of negative comments and so on. Here's what. It proves that we are on the right path. Let me say it again. It proves that we are on the right path. Because here's what. They cannot counter anything that we said last night. Nothing. They cannot counter a single word that we said last night. When we said that there is a Procurement Act in law, that the Procurement Act says that any purchases that government is making above $15,000 needs to be placed out for bidding, and that you have spent $199,000 plus buying office equipment and so on, and we're pretty sure that $199,000 is more than $15,000, and there was no procurement done in relation to that. No bidding took place. No express of interest was put out in relation to that, to supply that new ministry with the equipment that they have. They cannot deny it. The law is there. And we can quote sections of the law for them. And they can't say that they were unaware of it, because the senior people within the Ministry of Finance know this. Let me say that again. The senior people within the Ministry of Finance who had to release the money to do these purchases know very well that there's a Procurement Act. And they know that there's a procedure in relation to these things, except in the case of a state of emergency. National disaster, state of emergency, that kind of thing. So they know what we are saying is the truth. So they can say what they want about me. They can say what they want about other members of the NNP team. The fact remains that the law was broken in relation to the procurement of the equipment that was bought for that new ministry to the tune of over $199,000. Again, you have people that have been hired into a new ministry. A new ministry has been created. They may have cherry-picked one or two people from other ministries, but they have taken people from outside of the public service. From what we are hearing, they have taken people from outside of the public service. They've brought them now into this new ministry. They have contracts. And from what little birds are telling me around the place, yeah, you know, a little bird come and a little bird tell me thing. It seems very likely that some of these people are receiving significant salaries in that new ministry. And even with that taking place, when the question is asked for the names of these people, their salaries, other benefits that they may be getting, yeah, none of that is given. None of it is given. And they think it's okay to do that. So they're hiding. They're hiding who they hired in the ministry. Then you have the question being asked, the first question that was asked by the former Prime Minister, Dr. Mitchell, when he asked who are the advisors and transition leads that have been hired. And for some strange reason, the document is presented to Parliament, but the name Ian Thomas is left out. The same Ian Thomas who is being paid by you $4,500 a month as a salary, $415 or $416 or so dollars as traveling allowance on a monthly basis, 25 days leave, vacation, yeah, 50% duty-free concession in relation to a vehicle. And the question in Parliament was clear, the names of the advisors and so on. So you never know. What is the press secretary getting then? Because outside of the salary that we're hearing, we don't know for sure, because they did not give that information. We're hearing $10,000 a month. And who knows if there's also traveling tapped on to that, and either 50% or maybe even 100% concession on a vehicle. We don't know because we are not told. And then today, Tuesday, when you should have had a post-cabinet press briefing, they're in the gardens hiding. From chief cook to bottle washer, all of them hiding. You had your budget presentation last week. You claim to be doing so much, but you're afraid to tell the Grenadian people what you're doing. You take an additional $24,000 a year on your salary, you know. An additional $24,000 per person except for the Prime Minister. You're hearing that you have people working, and the Prime Minister said it during the parliamentary meeting. He used a terminology that Lee Kuan Yew, the deceased former Prime Minister of Singapore, he didn't tell people it's Lee Kuan Yew. But it's Lee Kuan Yew, the former Prime Minister of Singapore, said that if you want government on the cheap, you're going to get government on the cheap or something to that effect. So in other words, spend a lot of money and you get people who are going to do a lot of work and do positive work and so on, they wouldn't steal. Giving the impression that everybody that gone into politics gone inside there to thief. When I know for a fact many people that have actually been losing money. They take criticism from the public. They take criticism sometimes from even their own family. The media have the worst to say about you because you're a public official. And you know what? You could have been working somewhere else for 4 and 5 times the amount of money that you're working for in Grenada, but you've made the sacrifice and you remained because you love Grenada and you want to make a sacrifice. And still, you have people calling you thief on top of that. I know of several instances of this. The former Prime Minister is an instance of this. An individual who could have been working outside of Grenada for salaries way past what he was paid as Prime Minister, but decided that he had a contribution to make and still has a contribution to make here to Grenada. And I don't want to go into detail, but there are several other members of the former cabinet that could have been working outside of Grenada and making 4, 5 times the amount of money that they were making as a government minister. But they got into this because of the love of the people of Grenada. And they got into this because they truly believe and understood that they had to give something back to Grenada to show their love for Grenada. But you have a group of people who come in, and before they do anything for Grenada, except win an election, before they do anything, they take a raise at 24,000 and talking about you can't do government on the cheap. You ain't even prove you could do the job. Your Minister of Youth is so incompetent that you have 2 advisors. 2 advisors in one ministry for one minister. And both of them seem to be advising on the same thing, youth and sports. And then you give one of these advisors, because I've seen the contract. Yeah, don't ask me how I get. I open my front door and there it was on the floor. I just see a folder in the front of my door. So don't ask me how I get it. But the contract of Ian Thomas, commonly called Django, from Trenchtown up in St. Andrews there. Yeah, Trenchtown up in Grenville. Yes, that same Ian Django Thomas. Yeah? Basically places him in a position that he's not even reporting to the permanent secretary in the ministry. So your advisor is basically like a junior minister within the ministry. Then you have other people who are going around, and we won't come to them, going around telling people that they are advisors. And you see them going on trips and so on, and they're coming back and they're saying they're advisors, but their name not on that list. So I want to know what benefits and so on they're receiving. Because while they have said, and listen carefully, while they have said that the advisors and the transition leads and so on are receiving $5,000 a month over a 3-month period. That's over the 3-month period. They didn't say, because remember, some of the transition leads transitioned into advisors in ministries. So they were the transition lead for 3 months, where they got $5,000 a month. That was said. Then they transitioned into advisors. Are they still getting $5,000 a month? Are they getting more? And are there other benefits to them? Are they being afforded, same as Mr. Django, 50% duty-free concession? Does that go across the board to all of them? What about other senior public servants who are traveling and this kind of thing? Are they being afforded the same? Are they being given concession on a vehicle if they're bringing it in? A senior administrative officer and so on? I know for permanent secretaries. But a senior administrative officer or even an officer that's doing a lot of work out there, are they getting concessions too? Or it's just for you and the boys? And some of you hear me saying concession, I don't know what it means. It means that when they bring the vehicle in, they're going to pay 50% less in taxes that they were going to pay otherwise to the government of Grenada. They're given a tax salt, so they get 50% less. If they had to pay 50,000, they're going to pay 25,000 instead to the treasury. If they had to pay to the treasury 100,000, they're going to pay 50,000, whatever it is, on that vehicle that they're bringing in. Yeah? So imagine all the advisors. If they didn't get it before, they go ask wait now, because now they have heard what in Mr. Ian Django Thomas' contract. Ain't it? And what is he really doing? From what I hear, all he doing is driving around with the minister. No serious input into anything. So it's like a case of Tweedledee and Tweedledum. Because with a minister and 2 advisors, you still have a ministry that firing people that they're not supposed to fire and then having to take back the letter. With 2 advisors and a minister, you have a minister announcing a holiday. And now government sends out the list of holidays, and the holiday that the minister announced is not there because the minister had to take it back. So Minister Ron Redhead stands up on the 4th, and says that from next year, October 19th, will be observed as a holiday. The government of Grenada today sends out the official list of holidays, and there's no October 19th as a holiday there. In fact, the 25th remains, but the 19th is not there. That in a ministry with 2 advisors and a minister. Yeah? You send home a set of groundsmen and then you come back and say, a mistake was made, you send them groundsmen not supposed to be sent home. And then you end up in a legal challenge with an individual because you claim you is a minister in a ministry, and a contract was renewed for an individual that you don't believe it should have been renewed for. And therefore, after the contract was renewed, you pull it back and end up in legal trouble. Then you go in Parliament and talking about it and think that parliamentary privilege will save you in the courthouse. It's saving you in the courthouse. Come and say it outside. Where you say in Parliament, come and say it outside. If you're so sure. That's what it's like. When people sure on something, you're supposed to be able to say the same thing in Parliament and say it outside. Don't look to be covered by parliamentary privilege so that you could say something and you can't be sued in your personal capacity due to what you say. Say it outside, because that is not fully correct too. If some people feel so, but it's not fully correct, you need to read the law properly. Go and say it outside, if you're so sure. Yeah? But these are some of the situations that we're facing. And then you find that these individuals now, they start to attack people personally because they can't deal with the facts that you're putting out there. So when we say, if you want to discuss the issue of campaign financing, open the books of the NDC. Because as far as we know, the NDC was broke up to this time last year. As far as we know, it's the same NDC that was saying that they need a $3 million for campaign, $3 to $4 million for campaign, and they was in debt for campaigns from as far back as 2008 come up. They still was owing entities and individuals from 2008, 2013, and 2018 campaign. So don't tell me that raffling goat and selling fried chicken and having a little bar every now and again and selling cake and doing raffle is how you were able to raise $3 to $4 million. Because if it's so, I go in and start to raffle goat and thing. I go in and buy a goat and raffle it. I go in and start to fry chicken and thing and sell. If I could raise $3 to $4 million like that, well, because it is obvious to anybody with common sense who takes off their rose-colored glasses and uses the intellect that the parents pay for them to go to school and grow. That's what your parents pay for you to do. Go to school and grow your intellect so you could think properly. Yeah? It is clear to see anybody who didn't waste their parents' school money and is honest with themselves would know that the National Democratic Congress also receive campaign financing from outside of Grenada. And that doesn't say that the documents they put out is true, because I don't know about that. I don't know. I can't make any definitive statement in relation to that. I could make a definitive statement in relation to Tillman Thomas in 2012. I could make, let me pull up what he said. I could make a definitive statement in relation to statements that Mr. Tillman Thomas make. For instance, when he make this statement back on the 21st of May, 2012.
If NP has information that they feel that there's something needs to be investigated, they could go and make a report to the FIU, and the FIU could conduct an investigation. But it is usual that officials in political parties receive contribution and donation for the organization. All political parties, I believe, will get contribution or donation. So I don't know what really the basis of the allegation. Well, I haven't received any money from Saudi Arabia myself. I'm not aware of any money being received from Saudi Arabia. I believe it is more mischief. I think the NNP has been tainted with wrongdoing. So they want to bring all politicians within that category. I think that is what they're trying to do. They're trying to confuse the Grenadian people to make it appear that all of us as politicians are involved in wrongdoing. But I don't think that would succeed.
So what you have to do, and I'm going to play that again, what you have to do is simply take out the words, reverse the words NNP and NDC there, because remember, the allegation is about $150,000 Mr. Tillman Thomas is talking about, but he come and he admit. He never admit to the 150. That could have still, we don't know, that could have still been true. But what he did is he put out another document to shoot the 150,000 down and say, I get 50,000. Right? So he did admit to receiving $150,000. And you don't have to take my word for it. There's the document. There's the document that Mr. Tillman Thomas spoke about. Let me just pull up. There's the document there that Mr. Tillman Thomas spoke about. You could see down to the account number there. You might want to drop a little something for Uncle Tilly. So the account number 127000114. Alright? And it gives the client signature there is Tillman Thomas. And it's from January the 9th, 2012. Alright? It gives his occupation at that time as Prime Minister. It gives his date of birth. It gives his phone number. It gives the expiry date of I think he used a driver's license or something. It gives the driver's license number, all of that. So Mr. Tillman Thomas came and he said, well, look, I received money. I did my declaration, source of funds. Because once you are making or you receive a certain amount of money into your account, there must be a declaration of funds. Once it's over, I'm trying to remember the exact figure, if it's 8,000, there's a certain amount of money that once it goes into your account, you must do a declaration of source of funds. It goes across the board. Whether you're an individual, whether you're a company, whether you're a political organization, whatever it is, once you receive over a certain amount of money, you must do a declaration of source of funds in any bank. In any bank, you must do that. Right? So we have that here. And it says declaration contribution. And it's in Mr. Tillman Thomas's handwriting here. It says contribution to the National Democratic Congress from, and they delete the person name. So we don't know if it's Osama bin Laden. We don't know if it's Pablo Escobar. We don't know who it is. I'm not alleging that those are the people. I'm saying that we don't know who the individual is. You see, that's how to legally cover yourself, I'm not saying that those are the people. It could have many people named Pablo Escobar. It could have many people named Osama bin Laden. But it says contribution to the National Democratic Congress from, and they blank out. Right? And the amount that they received, that the NDC received, $134,377.53. Right? And I just got a message there that the declaration amount is $10,000. Anytime you receive anything $10,000 and above, you must make a declaration of the source of funds. Right? So where you got that money from. Because what they're trying to avoid is a thing called money laundering and that kind of thing. That people filter money through your account to try and wash it and that kind of thing. The banks have to protect themselves and you have to protect yourself. So there's a declaration for the source of funds. So we saw it to Mr. Tillman Thomas. I wonder if there are declarations for source of funds for Mr. Deacon Mitchell and the National Democratic Congress. Because it would be interesting to see where some of their source of funds that they put down are and what the funds were for that went into that account. Because I'm sure it wasn't no 5,000 and 3,000 and 1,000. It had to be significant amounts of money. So if you want to have an open discussion in relation to campaign financing, say that you're going to open your books. Say that you're going to open the books of the National Democratic Congress But not just their books, because we see a former NDC Prime Minister had the money on his personal account and not the account of the NDC. In fact, early in the game, when the treasurer of the NDC was asked about the money, this is what he had to say when he was asked about that money, when he started hearing about that. That was Mr. Bernard Isaac back in those days. He was asked about that allegation.
The treasurer of the NDC, Bernard Isaac, has declined comment on the matter, saying he has to seek clearance from the political leader. Meantime, General Secretary Peter David said the NDC is unaware of the money in question being deposited into the party's bank account.
No, as General Secretary of the party, I must say to you quite simply, we have no knowledge on that issue, absolutely none. What I know is what you know, what I've heard through the media, with respect to it being discussed at the party level, no truth. I have no idea, I have no knowledge whatever about that money. What you know is what I've heard, is what I've heard in the media. The party is not the place of that.
You see? That Bernard Isaac declined, and then you heard Brother Peter David, who at the time was the General Secretary of the NDC, saying that not only did he not know, we did not know. In other words, the executive at the time didn't even know that the then political leader had collected that money on behalf of the party. They didn't even know. And then, on the 5th of June, 2012, we had these two individuals speaking on the same issue.
Treasurer of the ruling National Democratic Congress, Bernard Isaac, says the rumor regarding the Prime Minister collecting monies from Saudi Arabia and distributing it to elements of his party is nothing more than a group of people being intentionally malicious. The party treasurer vows that he can attest to the fact that all money collected by the Prime Minister for the party was handed over to him for party purposes. Mr. Isaac says there is no secret that the Prime Minister collected monies on behalf of the party, monies that were handed over to the treasurer.
Some of those monies have been used through me to pay bills that were in the name of the party, thus far. In my report that I gave to the General Council in Carriacou, I made it abundantly clear that monies that I used to clear up the debt for the convention of 2011 came through the Prime Minister to me in January of this year. So if everyone present there were listening to the report that I presented, they must have known that monies came to me through the Prime Minister.
Other party members have denied knowing about the Prime Minister collecting any monies on behalf of the party. However, Mr. Isaac says what he can vouch for is that from time to time, the Prime Minister collects money for the party, like any other party official that is mandated to do so.
Monies that came through me, through the account in which I am responsible to report on, came from the Prime Minister's dinner, which was held twice, and on all other occasions, monies to pay off bills came through the Prime Minister. Other people that were mandated to raise monies on behalf of the party has not handed any funds or channeled any funds through me thus far.
In the meantime, the Financial Intelligence Unit says it has not received any formal request from the opposition to investigate its claim against the country's leader. Head of the unit, Seneth Joseph, says he has heard of the plans.
So you've been hearing. And the reason that I'm playing these things is that simple, I've seen in elections around the region recently that first-time voters have made a significant impact. First-time voters in this last Grenadian election and who will be first-time voters in the next election don't know anything about this. These were people who were 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old at that time. They don't know anything about this situation. And the fact that political parties, all political parties, and that's the point I'm making, because I think someone was trying to attack the thing here with some nonsense talking about admit to gain money. The bottom line is not that. The bottom line is all political parties, whether what the present Prime Minister is claiming or not is true. All political parties receive funding from outside. But the young people know, and that's why I keep telling you all, speak to the younger ones, because they're only getting one side of the story. The only side of the story that they're getting now is what is perceived to have happened now. They don't know the history. They don't know 10 years ago in 2012, they don't know that 10 years and some months ago, that the same thing that's being accused now happened. And that the then Prime Minister was making statements like this. Let me pull the other statement that he made. The problem that these NDC people who jumping in, they have, is that they can't deal with the facts. And the facts are straight. The facts ain't bent at all. It's easy to understand.
An accusation that's been thrown at you, $150,000 and so forth. Again, is this baseless?
Well, you see, people making accusations from time to time. You know, any political organization would get contribution.
Okay.
And all the transaction I have done, above board, any transaction I've done legitimately through a banking institution, or there's nothing to hide.
So there's no red flag?
There's no red flag. No, if anybody has any evidence that anything is, the law has been broken, anything is out of the way, they could go to the FIU or go to any agency that is involved and ask them to conduct an investigation.
Well, your party would not have been the first party to receive any contribution, because
no, that's a normal. The only I say the difference may be that what a contribution came through a banking institution. I see nothing wrong with that. That if somebody gives you a contribution, I see nothing. Once it comes from a legitimate source, and it's for the use of that's part of the democratic process. I mean,
But you're certainly not the first big above. That Stanford, 700 and something.
Yeah, that's it. And some of it doesn't come through any banking institution at all. I mean, of course, we had nothing to hide. That if somebody wants to make a contribution to a political organization and make it through an individual within the organization, a trustworthy individual, I see nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So this is one thing. You are clean.
Yeah, I have nothing to worry about that.
You have nothing to worry about.
No.
Whatever information would be, I suppose, you would make it available if they ask you for.
Yeah, if you ask for information, yes, it could be made available at any time.
So this is thoughtless for you, right?
Make some information available now. If they ask you, I'm asking, make the information available. Who it is gave you the money? Make that information available. Since you have nothing to hide and you're so clean and you're so decent, you have nothing to hide. Because there are people who jumping into the chat that don't seem to understand the English language. An accusation has been made. Yeah? And we are saying that the Prime Minister of this country lied to the people of this country when he said that there is a cabinet conclusion for $290,000. We are saying that the present Prime Minister lied. We are challenging him on that. And again, as has been stated in Parliament and has been stated outside of Parliament, bring forth the cabinet conclusion that you claim exists. You went to the Grenada Trade Center. You went to a town hall meeting. You said clearly to the people of Grenada at that town hall meeting that there's a cabinet conclusion, giving the impression that there's a cabinet conclusion for $290,000 and that somehow only 150 end up with the government of Grenada. That was the story that you unfolded to the Grenadian people there, and we are calling you out on it and saying that you lied. And we are saying to you, present proof of what you're saying to the Grenadian people, not the receipts. The receipts don't prove anything except normal transactions when people give donations to political parties. The Conservative Party of the United Kingdom, if you go to their website now, there's a part below it that says, if you could donate. They go so far. The Conservative Party of the UK have gone so far that they say you could leave something in your will for the party. So if you want to leave a 500 pounds, or you want to leave 1,000 pounds, or you want to leave £1 million, they ain't care. The bottom line is, if you want, you could leave a little something in your will for the Conservative Party. If you don't want to give it when you're living, you could give it when you're dead. You check with all political parties in Europe, in the Caribbean, in the Pacific, wherever. It's the same thing. Parties receive donations. So to put out some receipts that says, if they are real, that a party received donations is nothing. It is nothing. And while you have individuals here who are saying, well, Mr. Tillman admit that he get the money, he only admitted to receiving $50,000 from one person who deposited that into his account, gave it to him, whether they hand him cash and he put it in the account, or whether they sent it or whatever. But he only admitted when at the last parliament sitting that the NDC had, when they were in government the last time, they didn't have a parliament sitting after that, that Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell raised that issue and said that he had information that 150,000 was deposited into the Prime Minister's account on behalf of some donor, or however it was put. That was at a parliament sitting, and the Prime Minister had to admit it, and that was done in about May. And from the document that you're seeing, it says that the Prime Minister made that declaration in January of that same year. So don't come and try to give the impression, because other people in the party say they didn't know about that. Up to this day, during this election campaign, you still had one former candidate saying that, oh, they're still paying off bills from back in 2013 out of their own pocket because they did not get the support from the NDC. You still have at the last convention of the NDC them speaking about pre-existing bills from other election campaigns. So don't try and give the impression that is Satan and God. We are all sinners because we all human. Yeah? So they're coming now to try and make it look like if it's one rule for one set of people and a next set of rule for a next set of people. No. Yeah? No. We will continue to remind people. Because again, and I'm saying it because I wanted to drill into you all head. Speak to the younger ones. That's who they're going after. Those youngsters don't know nothing about Mr. Tillman Thomas and this whole debacle back in 2012. They don't know nothing about that. They don't know. So they get the impression that something wrong take place and there's one set of people doing it. And they will continue to frame their news and their information and put it out in that way, like what they did online over the weekend when they put out the picture of Dr. Mitchell and they put the bills next to it, because if you add it up, it comes up to 290,000, right? But they didn't make clear that the 150 went to the government of Grenada, as is alleged, and the other money is alleged to have gone to an account of the New National Party. They didn't make that clear because they want the average person out there. You see, the thing is, when you listen to the people who make the most noise about Dr. Mitchell had to go and why he don't keep quiet and all this kind of nonsense, it's not an NPI saying that, you know. It's not even middle of the road people saying that. It's the idiot squad in the NDC that making that noise. Because they are afraid of him. They are afraid of him politically. They are afraid of him. So they are the ones that making all the noise out there about he had to go. NNPIs go decide. We will make the decision when the time comes. We ain't need no help with that. We smart, we intelligent enough. When the time comes, and the good thing is, we have a lot of people to choose from. So we will make that decision when the time comes. Nobody outside ain't coming and tell us what to do inside. When we are good and ready, we will make that decision in our own timing and on our own schedule. Nobody outside ain't coming and force us to make that decision. Because we know all you afraid of him. I look at the attacks on other members of the New National Party team, and you could always tell who they are afraid of. So when Sister Emlyn Pierre come to talk, they had the nastiest set of thing to say. When Brother Peter David come to talk, they had the nastiest set of thing to say. They so know that right now, they're afraid of Senator Cox. That they keep trying to tie him into all kind of things. And they keep attacking him. And they keep saying all kind of things. Because they're afraid of him. These individuals, these are just some of the individuals that they're afraid of. So they're constantly attacking them and saying all sorts of nasty and negative things about them. So you have to understand where they're coming from. So when they come and they make the nonsense statements and that kind of thing, I won't be bothered with them. Just remember, what I want them to do is make sure that you share the program. Make sure right now you're on Facebook because you're watching it on Facebook. Click like and share. If you don't like, click that you hate it, but still share. Get your other friends and them riled up and vexed so they could jump on and say things too. Don't come by yourself. Alright? And here's another piece of advice. We have a YouTube page. I want you to jump over to the YouTube page. I see we're progressing nicely. We were at 600 and something. Now I see we at 700 and something subscribers. I want, before independence, 1,000 subscribers. Alright? So everybody that's viewing there right now, the couple hundred of you that's viewing right now, want you all to make sure that you're subscribed. And if not, to subscribe and click the notification button right now. And then I want you to take the YouTube link and share it with your friends on WhatsApp. And share it with your friends on Facebook. And share it with a message that says subscribe. So that they would subscribe too. Because we have a lot of information to give, you know. We have a lot of information to give. I think we have a call on the line. Good night. Hello? Oh boy, it seems as though we lost that caller. 440-7377. That's 440-7377. And for those of you outside of Grenada, 347-329-3101. And again, a special good night to our listeners via CRFM 89.5. And those of you listening via 94.9, We Noise Radio out there in snowy Brooklyn. Yeah. And then those of you who are out there in the US, in the UK. Yeah, hearing that you all getting some snow and that kind of thing. Yeah, my son playing in the snow out there, man. He enjoying himself in the snow out there.
You promise one public service. Everybody will be made permanent. Nobody going home. Take Susu in you. I don't believe in superstition. Something wrong with that transformation.
Yeah, so 440-7377, 347-329-3101. In fact, some people say I speak too fast. 440-7377. And for you outside of Grenada, 347-329-3101.
Transformation water. From the time they drink the water, they start to reverse Grenada. Pitimatic, Tariku, Grenada, and it's that. Juve man in a hold my head and ball. PM play a jump and play my wall. But it's not league and I remember he drank the transformation water. And when I listen to the AG, if they do wicked, well they crazy. If you don't support the agenda, they treat you like fish out of water. Who tell them drink the water? The transformation water. From the time they drink the water, like they put a spell on Grenada. They wrong to drink the water. The transformation water. From the time they drink the water, they start to reverse Grenada. Every time.
And folks, we're quickly coming up on the 9 o'clock hour, the first hour of tonight's program. No, my brother, I just got a message there. Don't forget the port situation. I'm not forgetting the port situation, no. The government of Grenada has to answer what took place on the port. Yeah? Because if you have a situation that the board of directors, not people who were bored, but the board of directors of the Grenada Port Authority sent out a public release that said that some malfeasance, go in the dictionaries. Okay, some thieving took place on the Port Authority. We're hearing from various sources that it is alleged that $12,000 worth of exit passes were distributed. No money came into the treasury in relation to that. We're hearing from various sources that close to $800,000 worth of goods, in other words, taxes and so that should have been paid, might have come up to around $800,000 worth of goods, left the port. No money went into the treasury, the Port Authority account, anything to do with the state of Grenada in relation to that. Yeah? That's what we are hearing out there. But the government is more silent on that particular issue. Let's go to the phone line. Good night. Oh boy, I missed it. Call right back. 440-7377 because reading some information here. So, yeah. Don't worry, the lights are here. We're just waiting. During the Christmas time, we're going to put up everything proper. Nice? Yeah, so I'm saying, yeah, just making sure I clear the phone line properly. Yeah. We are not going to leave the port situation alone. You can't leave the port situation alone because we are hearing that a particular government minister's name is calling. We hear any name a ring-a-ding-a-ding-ding-ding when it comes to that particular issue. We are hearing that some of the exit passes that particular present government minister was involved. Yeah? So all we want is a proper denial and just say, no, it's not true. And say who it really was. But instead, they quietly reinstate the young lady. They reinstate her to use her as a sword of Damocles over the head of that particular minister. And if that minister was smart enough, he'd know that. So he has to do their bidding right now. He has no independence. He can't come out and say, go in and do this and that and all kind of thing, and he giving any kind of trouble. Because any kind of trouble he start to give, that is it for he. We have a call online. Good night.
Hey, good night, Sheldon.
Hey, how you doing, bro?
Hey, good, man.
All right,
good
man.
Program, man.
You go right ahead, man.
Sheldon, I have something to ask. Is any prime minister in the state of Grenada ever been styled by the union as manifestly certified false, making a statement, and the union had to reply that way to the prime minister? Because really and truly, I believe that, they style the prime minister as a liar. And such a nice way to style a man as a liar. And what troubles me, our prime minister is not in office for that long. He just come in office. And for a body as a union to reply to him, or to reply to the general public saying manifestly certified false, is something real strange, I mean, Morris Bishop was our prime minister, and he never get that. I don't even think Tilly or any one of them ever get something like that from the union. Dr. Mitchell never gets something like that from the union. But that is very troubling. So whatsoever the prime minister say, we have to question it. We have to look into it first, we have to investigate it, and we have to make sure that this thing is not manifestly certified for. So Sheldon, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
All right, my brother, thank you.
Yeah.
And I remember May Day, and that's when the attack started on Mr. Andre Lewis, who is the president of the Trade Union Council. The attack started on him when he said that the political leader of the NDC is anti-worker. And he didn't just say that as in, I have a feeling that the political leader of the NDC is anti-worker. He said, look at the Indra Williams case. And for those of you that have the ability and can do that search, you can check online and you can find out the details of the Indra Williams case. It was against the Calabash hotels. Yeah? You could research that and see if he was defending the poor worker As how Mr. Peter David goes in court and he defend poor people, children and thing. Yeah? See if he was defending the poor people or if he was defending the corporations, the people with the money. Check the Breeze case. Check the cases of several other institutions, SGU, and the workers in SGU. Find out who was the lawyer representing those agencies. And yes, they could say they were successful, but they were successful against the poor and vulnerable. They were successful against the people who were just asking to be treated fairly by a business that they gave years of service to. And they just wanted to be treated fairly. But the present leader of the NDC was the lawyer that went on behalf of the business, not on behalf of the person fighting for their rights, but on behalf of the businesses. So when you heard Mr. Andrew Lewis back in May making that statement, and it's not a case like Mr. Andrew Lewis said, well, the NNP love workers, and the NNP this and the NNP. He wasn't praising the NNP. He attacked the NNP too. But he made sure that he pointed out that what you were getting was an anti-worker individual. He was very clear on that. But the attack is what they don't say about him. Is what they don't say about him is what they couldn't remember and what they couldn't get. Yeah? So folks, 440, it's now 1 minute after 9 o'clock. 440-7377, 329-329-3101.
Who tell them drink the water? The transformation water. From the time they drink the water, like they put a spell on Grenada. They ram to drink the water.
Yeah, giving you the opportunity to call in here.
From the time they drink the water.
Because see, the thing is, I would think you've done your budget presentation. And if your budget presentation was so fabulous, you could take the next week, all the way leading up to the Senate sitting next week. You could take that time and you could explain different parts of it and get into it and so on and come out and tell the Grenadian people, well, look, we're doing this and we're doing that and this is what you could expect in the future and so on. But instead of that, they put out this issue again. This issue that they claim took place with the Polish individual. They put that out and then they come saying, no, that is the issue we want you all to discuss. So they put out stuff on the internet in relation to the budget because they know the budget is trash. Really and truly, the budget is nonsense. It's a fake budget. But instead of putting out stuff in relation to their budget, they put out stuff to attack the NNP. It's not the NNP that put your project that you say you're going and do together. We didn't put together your budget. Yes, most of the projects in your budget, because I see them, for instance, I realize they put out this thing about the derelict cars and so. That is not a project at the NDC. The NNP before gave the notification and some boats and so were moved in some areas, some vehicles were moved in some areas. And then they doing it again right now. So it's a continuous of what was taking place from a decision that was made by the board of directors of the Grenada Solid Waste Management Authority a year or two ago. There's not new something, but they want you to feel it's something new. When they talk under their budget about the refurbishment of the Grenada Cricket Stadium, they want you to feel it's something that they came in and got done in the 173 or so days that they've been there. That is not the case. I was on the board of directors of the Grenada National Stadium. So I know for me, I'm nothing to hide. That's public knowledge. Right? So I know for a fact that this was something that was negotiated nearly 2 years ago. That a team, a Chinese team, were already on the ground here since earlier this year, long before election. And that was the technical team, the first set of people to assess what needs to be done and the scope of work and all that sort of thing. And that the Chinese government is going to provide the funding to do the refurbishment and so, but they ain't telling you that. They want you to feel the NDC come in and the ministry with the two advisors, that they get that done in no space of time. That is not true. All you lie. If that is all you're trying to give people the impression of, all you lie. Just now you all will come and say that the River Road project is a project that you do too. Even though you know thousands of people have passed through and seen that work taking place long before election. When it finished, I bet you they don't even have the common decency to invite the member of parliament for the area or the former minister under whose tenure that work started. I bet you they don't even have the common decency to invite them to cut a ribbon or to be there when the ribbon is cut. They don't have that decency. Yeah? So when they come talking about these programs, I heard the statements they make in relation to the youth program, you know. But you realize I keep leaving that alone. Because I don't want to deal with that on emotion. I want to deal with that strictly on facts. So I put in my information together and we're going to deal with that so-called presentation on youth. Youth and sport. You heard them they lie to you, making untrue statements. And I mean, come on. It's a clear lie. It's a lie. Anybody who have common sense in Grenada would know it's a lie. Anybody that wearing rose-colored glasses and drinking from the fountain of stupidity will just believe these individuals when they say things like, the last government never spent a cent on the creative economy. You call it the creative economy, but the elements in it were well funded. Carnival is part of the creative economy. Millions have been spent on Carnival over the years. That's part of the creative economy. Mass bands, they receive subvention. Calypso tents, they receive subvention. Steel bands receive subvention. You assist different cultural groups to travel, whether directly as government or indirectly through a statutory body such as Lotto. Yeah? But they still come back and say not a cent was spent on the creative industry. You have a whole cultural center being built in St. Andrew up in Seamoon. But they still come back and say not a cent was spent on the creative industry. You do training courses for people in different elements of the creative industry. You provided the money for the Grenada Cultural Foundation, who in turn assisted many of the cultural groups, etc. around the island, who did work with some of the community groups and so. But yet still, they still come and say not a cent. Well, we could understand why he would say that, you know. Because he was never involved enough in what was taking place in Grenada to know that because there's a plain lie that was told by the Prime Minister that not a cent was spent under the creative industry. But we know that. And you have to call them out on these lies so they know that all these holes. And tomorrow night we will be having a guest with us. So we will be having that discussion further on the budget. We're going to stick to the budget tomorrow night. Because they want us to spend time on other things. And we can't give them that. Understand their tactics and their strategy. They put out a document and they can't defend it. It's like you're going for a doctoral thesis, you put out a thesis and you can't defend it. Well, they can't get you a doctorate. They can't get you a doctorate. You cannot defend your thesis. So they put out their thesis and now they can't defend it. So instead of defending their thesis, they start to attack the people who have to review their thesis. So make the confusion about the person or the persons who have to review the thesis and not the thesis itself. You have to defend your thesis when you're going for a doctorate. So that is what is happening. They want you to focus on everything else except the fact that they figures in, and they maths in. So they have one figure in the budget statement. Yeah? One figure in the budget statement. So the budget statement saying one set of money. But when you check the actual estimates of revenue and expenditure, and as I told you all, there's a document that crossing 400 pages going. Could reach as much as 600 pages. You check through the whole document, and when you find what they're talking about, the figure that they have in that document is lower than the figure that they mentioned in the budget statement, the speech that they gave. So people hear the figure in the speech and they jump up. Why? Look at that. More money. How much? When you check, you're seeing $18 million less. You're seeing $14 million less than was spent under the NNP. All that sort of thing. But they don't want these discussions. They want to twist. And yes, Clive is saying they're trying to distract from things like what took place on the port. I don't feel I forget about the port, Because I'm speaking about it January. I'm speaking about it February, March, April. I'm speaking about it every month until something happens in relation to it. Every single month. I'll beat it like a bongo drum in a Rastaman dance. If they don't like it, bite it. All of this is distraction. When you heard Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell and his presentation on the budget, and he took them to school. And before he even delved into the budget document, he took them back historically. Because some of them was baby in Pampers. Some of them wasn't even born with some of the stuff he was talking about. There were people that were sitting there as MPs that were not even born. With some of the stuff that he had to go back and speak about. From 1984 come right up the road. And if you're speaking about issues like pension and so, you have to go to 1958, come up the road. And we hear them trying to give the impression right now that, oh, they pay the pension. I hear that stupid ad. It's stupid. It's just dunce. I call it what it is. Yeah, they say I like to call people dunce. I ain't calling people dunce. The ad dunce. Yeah? The ad itself dunce. They're playing this ad on radio. Oh, you don't see how much thing taking place in the country because we pay the pension. Them. It is the 13th of December. This time of year, there are always activity taking place. You go to a hardware, you always bounce up a bunch of people in the hardware this time of year. Because that leaky faucet in the kitchen, they want to fix it. They want to make sure they fix up the bathroom and the toilet and they redo the tiles. And you paint the house. You fix the front step. You understand? People want to make themselves and the place look nice for the Christmas. As they say, they want to invite Christ into their home for the Christmas. Not Santa Claus, if you come in, it's a different thing. Christ into their home for the Christmas. They want to enter the new year, new and fresh. So, as Caribbean people, because it's not just a Grenadian thing, as Caribbean people, we always do this kind of thing at this time of year. So what did they do? They come and they make the pension payments at that time of year. So they make it last month around now. They make the pension payments. And then the activity that takes place anyway, they're trying to claim that activity is taking place because they pay the pension. If you wanted to extend the activity, what you could have done is pay the pension in January, isn't it? If you wanted to generate real economic activity, pay the pension at a time when people broke. When economic activity goes on a ship down low. Because it's mainly just tourism that brings in the majority of money in January. So if you really wanted, you could have paid it in January. Yeah? And then you could have seen the real effect of it. You would have seen if the hardware store was still full of people. You would have seen people going and buying new vehicle and doing all kind of thing. And if that was coming out of the pension. But you put it at a time when who getting bonus get a bonus or getting the bonus in the next 2 days. Yeah? Them who getting bonus. I doesn't see them thing there. Who getting the bonus in the next 2 days. The other people who getting their salary. They get their salary at the end of November and then they get another salary 15 days later. So money come and meet money. And they're able to do a lot more than they usually would be able to do. Just remember, January is a long month. It's about 50 days in January. And with the NDC government, it's more like 100. Alright, just remember that. But this is normal economic activity for this time of year. So if you see a spike in economic activity, you cannot differentiate that from the payment that has been made in relation to pension because there's normal uptake in economic activity at this time of year. People buy more clothes, they buy curtain, they buy stuff for the kitchen, they run by courts, they buy a fridge, they get a TV, they get a new bed, they do all these things. They do all these things at this time of year normally. This is normal Grenadian behavior. So to pay the pension now, and to try to say, and if it was natural, if it was a case that really and truly you were seeing a lot of activity taking place in Grenada, you didn't need to do an ad to tell anybody. What they're trying to do is mind control. So they didn't have to do an ad to tell you that pension was making the economy move. We put 44 point whatever million dollars that the new National Party leave there for all to be able to use and do that. That all was thinking all had to go and take a loan and all kind of thing. And when all reach there, all meet the treasury most pregnantos. All meet the money inside there to be able to do all the things. All didn't raise that money in that space of time. So this is what they're trying to do, is always some sort of trick or bamboozle. So last week you had the situation, people park up in traffic for half hour, 45 minutes. Why? Because the tactic was to fix one of the most busy roads in the state of Grenada, the Grand Anse Road, to fix the potholes in it at the point in time that everybody traveling. So that they have the most viewers, people passing and say, yes, my government fixing the road. You see, they're fixing the road. My government fixing the road. They're doing things. My government fixing the road. So they did that at a point in time that they know the road busy. At a point in time that you have some of the biggest flights coming into Grenada, which means the road even more busy because you have people going down to collect family and people coming up from collecting family. And that is when they decide to fix the road. Yeah? Understand the tactics. Understand what they are doing. And they don't need to do all of that if they were actually doing something. I'm still waiting for a new project from the NDC. You know, I tell you all, I listen to the budget. And still, the only new project I've heard from the NDC is the Send Home project. That's the only new project I've heard from the NDC. Pour the staff in some of them ministries like the Ministry of Youth. Pour them. Pour the people who are the caregivers that going out there, that have been ordered that as of January, the 9 to 1, 9 to 2 kind of work they've been doing done. No more you go and you take care of 2 or 3 patients and then you go and you do your own business and so to try and make an extra dollar because they're paying you next to nothing in the program. So you used to carry 2 or 3 jobs or 2 jobs so you could make your money under the caregivers, and then you go and whether it's you're selling confectionery or making confectionery or you're doing cleaning in the evening, you're working with a cleaning company in the evening, but you do a second job. The same thing that many of you out there in North America are doing right now. Some of you holding down 2 and 3 jobs. But they find it wrong now for a person in Grenada to hold down 2 or 3 jobs. So you know what they tell them? They call them into a meeting and they told the caregivers you have to work 8 to 4. So if on your roster, you only have 1 client to go and clean for and see about for tomorrow, and you get there, you have to get there for 8. And after you finish, you have to sit down and fold your hand inside the house until 4 o'clock. Even if you have 2 or 3. So you do 1, you take your hour to do 1, you go, you do the next one, take your hour there, you finish, and by 12 o'clock you finish. When you reach by the last client, you have to sit down and fold your hand inside there until 4 o'clock. And they're sending out people to check and make sure you're there, you know? Even though you have nothing to do. Just sit down in the people place. So whereas you could have supplemented income because they have not told these people, they have not told these caregivers that we're going to increase your money. They have not said you're getting A right now and we're going to add B and C to it. They have not said that to them. All they tell them now is, we ain't finally working enough, so all you have to work 8 to 4. Go and say a lie. Say a lie. You all call them into a meeting and told them that they can't be working these short hours. And then when you make the statement, they make statements like that in a town hall in St. Patrick about value for money and all government workers should be working from 8 to 4. Come on, really and truly. Those of you that are in New York right now, North Carolina, Texas, and no Texas is in. Those of you in Miami and so listening, Those are you in Washington, D.C. listening. Those are you in Canada. Wherever it is, whether it's Alberta, Ontario, wherever you are in Canada. Those are you in England. You know when you went up there for the first time that sometimes you have one job in the morning, you pass home, you take a little sleep, a bathe, a change, and you have another job in the afternoon. And then to make ends meet, you might still even have a third job in the night up until 10, 11. Sometimes you do 2 or 3 jobs to make ends meet, and that is how you support your family home and support yourself, because job number 1 is to pay your rent, job number 2 is to pay your bills, and job number 3 is to help your family home. And when somebody here trying to help themselves by being able to, we're doing this job and they're doing it effectively, they're doing a good job on it. It's not like they're doing a half job and then leave it and go. They're doing a good job. But now you have a group of people that don't care about them what? We're giving them some money, so we want them work from 8 to 4 for it. And don't even say to these people, we're going to increase your money. Well, here what I have to say in relation to that. If all you want to get rid of the people to give some of your supporters and campaigners work, say that. Don't try to make the people leave the job. If you're looking for a job to give some of your people that knocking your door, calling your phone, passing by your house, passing by your office and saying, we campaign with you and we want a job, and you promise them a job, just do the right thing. Don't try to pressure people into leaving a job so you could say, well, we didn't fire them, they leave the work. That is what they're doing. All of that is tactics they're using. For years, these people were working, doing a good job, and it was okay. But you know, some of you all vote for it too, eh? So while I'm sorry for you, you have to be sorry for yourself. Because we told you all, this is the kind of thing that would happen. Yeah? So now they can't do the 2 jobs. They can't say they're going and do the caregiving in the day and then go with the local shop in the evening, or go and do a local confectionaries in the evening, or take up a job to clean somewhere in the evening to make an additional dollar. They have to give up the additional dollar, stick to the same money they're working for more time. That fair? That is people that love people, that will do things like that. But believe me, that is what happened, and it's the same story you hear they coming with when they're speaking about the bushers. No, it wasn't the bushers I was talking about, it was the caregivers, the people that go out and clean the elderly, clean their house, bathe them, make sure everything okay for them in the house and so. That is what they're telling. They have to stay there until 4 o'clock. And they're sending supervisors around to check. That is what they're doing that. Meanwhile, they said the same thing coming for the bushers. Well, I'm waiting. I'm waiting to see if they're really going and tell the bushers. Now, the bushers, they are people that would do that job. Oh boy, and I missed a call again. Yeah. The bushers are people that sometimes would go ahead and they do a job in the morning. So the team would come out and say, we're working from 5, we will complete everything by 8. So they work from 5, they complete by 8. Usually they're in a community close to where they live, so they go home, you bathe, you change. If it's a man and he had to go construction, he go and do his construction and make the additional dollar. If it's a woman, some of them doing construction too, and she had to go and do construction, or she had to go and do a cleaning job, or she had to go and do something else, wherever it is, they go and do that. So they make an additional dollar out of that. And sometimes that is the money that buy the school pants. Sometimes that is the money that buy the school shoe. Sometimes that is the money that pay Nawasa or play Grenlec or something like that. Sometimes that is the money that put food on the table for a week or 2. And now you're telling these people and them that they have to stick to one. So if they're coming out to do debushing, that they got to do it from 8 to 4. And I'm still looking under the budget now to see if you're going to maintain the same number of people who have been in the debushing program over the past couple of years. If you're going to maintain that number of people and increase the amount of money for them. I've not seen the allocation for that. We have a caller. Good night.
Good night. Good night, Sheldon. Good night to the listening public.
All right, brother. Go right ahead.
Yes, Sheldon, I just want to mention a few little things. Now, this year's budget from 2021 to 2022, it had a growth of of 6%. And in this budget that is read, the Honorable Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell said that he will have an increase of 3.6%. So it definitely it means over 6%. So it is going to increase to 9.3%. But the budget documents does not say that. The budget document talk about a reduction in the growth of the economy because all the figures has been played down on, and it's going to the economy is not going to grow because there is, use a big word, I don't even remember the big word, but what it's saying is it's going to have a deduction in the growth of the economy. Now, the Honorable Prime Minister, with all due respect to him, everybody looking up to him to and believe he's little Jesus on earth. But little Jesus on earth never lied to the people. Little Jesus said, put down your load because it's heavy and follow me because I can give you peace. I can give you rest. When you have people who is employed and you continue to lay them off, cut programs, cut the money, cut the bushing, it means, therefore, the growth of the economy must be less because you have less spending power, less people employed, and less money spending. Now, a businessman called me yesterday. He do a well-known business in that area. Well-known. And he said his sales over the years, and including this year, from after the budget, for the month of November, December, has been reduced significantly, that he has to weigh the circumstances, how much goods to buy now. And on top of that, people has been laid off. The downturn in the economy, and you expect an economy to grow. You expect people to spend money. The little people that spends money around Christmas time is the people who want to make the little Christmas shopping for the children to be happy for the holiday. People are complaining all way I pass. Businessman is complaining the sale is not good for this around this time at all, and make it worse. After they say all that, the whole tactics is to hide from attacking the bong check persons, the people who are responsible for issuing bong check all over Grenada. So they shading and they put out a kind of release talking about $290,000, $150 here and $140 there. But they are not talking about the millions that individual or to different companies. That is to waver people's mind, tell people what they want to hear. Lambast the NNP and tell people the NNP is no good, to cover up their own dirty shoes inside it. I am wondering if Grenadians taking this thing to consideration. Because I know, I'm not a politician, I'm not a big politician, I'm a small one. But I know the facts. My little work tell me the more you employ people, the more people employed is the bigger the tax return will come in to the government. And that it will help the economy to grow. I don't understand when you're boasting about you pay $40-something million to 500 people or less. What's about the 3,000 people that is home? The percentage of unemployment now almost reached to 30% because a lot of people is on the side waiting for a job. And they don't even know what's happening in this country because the cost of sugar and other goods will increase come 2023 because they're taxing the poor man to give tax break to the big men. What kind of government is that? What kind of politician we are seeing? I am saying if you can run country, bro, come out there and give somebody chance to run the country. Go on the side and observe. We know that you didn't expect to win the election. Fine. But please, according to one politician say, plant a tree so that it can bear fruits. And don't discard the tree that bore the fruits in the past. You go back to 1984 and saying Grenada has not been developed since 1983. I am saying to you, Mr. Prime Minister, I believe you was in a coma. I believe you didn't understand what it is you're getting involved in, and you don't know how to run country. And stop lying to poor people, children, because they are more educated than you are right now. Thank you very much, Mr. Sheldon.
All right. And one thing I don't want to do, I don't want to diminish anybody's accomplishments in life and the educational level and thing. I think that the Prime Minister is an intelligent individual. I think that the Prime Minister is a person who has done a lot academically, right? So I don't want to diminish that in any way. Man study, he get a degree, that kind of thing. How you use that intelligence and that degree is another thing. If you're trying to bamboozle and fool people using the tactics that you learn as a lawyer over the years, that is another thing. But one thing we could say about talking points, folks, they listen to talking points, because they send out a note to the police. We have been talking here every week. We have been talking as well about the police and the fact that the police need to get their upgrade and rank and that kind of thing. And a note was sent to those police officers last week, Yeah, please be informed that the RGPF joint negotiating team had a preliminary meeting with the government negotiating team. That was last week, Friday. Yeah, because we ponged them whole week last week and week before. So they run and they call the police and them negotiating team to come and talk now. Right. The said meeting was a precursor to salary negotiations and was mainly to discuss the approach towards the ratification of the long-standing issue of pay and grade. You all heard talking points talking about pay and grade last week. We talked about it week before. We talked about it the week before that. So they run now and they have a meeting last week Friday with the police in relation to it. It was agreed that the government negotiating team will make available to the RGPF joint negotiating team the report of an evaluation conducted by Ernst & Young, a UK-based company relative to the RGPF pay and grade. The findings and recommendations of this report will shape the basis of the RGPF joint negotiating team's negotiators, which should commence on another meeting this Monday gone. So they were supposed to meet Monday gone. Should the report be received. So I hope the report was received and the meeting take place Monday, because them police officers have a song. They say play for them until they get a pay and grade. It is the government negotiation team's intention to start the salary negotiations with all unions and staff associations on Tuesday 12th. When is Tuesday 12th? When was Tuesday 12th? Yesterday. I hear they offering is it 8%? I hear they offering or something, some kind of thing. I think they get, remember they get 12% on the NNP, they get 444. I think, yeah, they get some money on the NNP. So now they're negotiating, but here the government offer coming kind of low, but they have certain union and thing. You understand? Teacher Jude, how you doing? They have certain union and them fellas and them might just grab whatever they get because they have to protect the party. I ain't say who might do it, but you never know. And Teacher Jude? Yeah. Anyhow, so it is the GNT's intention to start salary negotiation with all unions and staff associations on Tuesday the 12th of December 2022 with the aim of reaching agreements by Friday 16th of December 2022. Well, let me tell you, they reached the agreement already, You hear what I say? They just ain't ready to announce it yet. They want to announce it then for you to go into the Christmas, and then that information is lost in the noise of Christmas. That is why they want to do it by Friday. You ain't discussed this with the police last month. You ain't do it month before while you're doing your budget so that any increases could have been put into the budget for 2023. No, they didn't do it then. They wait until the last minute, and now they're hoping that the noise get lost in the noise of Christmas. All right, okay. The tone of the meeting was positive, and the RGPF joint negotiating team looks optimistically to the rectification of the pay and grade issue. We also commit to keeping our members' best interests at heart in all our negotiations. Sincerely, our superintendent, I ain't calling superintendent name, but superintendent, right? Nice. That was sent to police officers and so. So only because we raised the issue here, and public workers are here, all you're getting an increase by how much percent, and so now all you're looking for, but they go just take what they get right now. You understand? That's the thing. It's a look like a case of take what you get instead of take what you need. You understand? Yeah. So, because we spoke about that, because we hold them to the fire in relation to this issue of pay and grade, they have come out and they hold a meeting with them Friday. They're supposed to give them some documents for them to hold our next meeting with them Monday. And then from Monday, they say they want to complete negotiations by Friday. But when I checked the budget document, I think they had to increase the numbers of police officers to take in another batch or two of police officers. But I can't remember seeing any allocation there for an increase in the pay. Because if you increase the pay grade of officers, in other words, you increase the amount of salary that the rank of corporal is supposed to receive or the different ranks supposed to receive. And so, if you increase that, it has to be reflected in the budget. Yeah? So I would have thought this kind of discussion would have taken place a month or two ago, instead of coming with some kind of half thing that you want to rush and do in 1 week, and then you want the noise of it to be lost in Christmas. That is what they're trying to do right now. They want the noise of this to be lost, so the public workers, the Police and Prisons Association and so on wouldn't know what take, well, the rank and file, even though they put out something. Really wouldn't grasp what happened because you're into Christmas and police and so you're working, and then you have your family Christmas, you're busy. Yeah, so it's until after that. And by the time you come after that, you head into Independence and so, and then you head into East. And by the time you catch yourself, you're 6 months down the road and you ain't really sure what went on with that. That is what they're doing. Understand, I keep telling you all, understand the tactics. That is why the police officers just tell me, boy, when you go on that program, make sure you play that song for us, you know. 4407377. Again, yeah, let me hit the phone line. We have a call online. Good night.
Hi, Sheldon. How are you doing?
I am fine. How are you doing?
I'm great. Just listening to and seeing and hearing all the nonsense that's taking place in our country at this time.
All right.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that it's quite unfortunate that people who really needed the money, were sent home without pay, while you have the government lavishing on the monies that they would have left, that the previous government would have left in the coffers. You would have had the entourage traveling in 5 months over $500,000, $100,000 plus a month, traveling to God knows where. And so in 5 months, $500 and something thousand dollars, over $500 and something $1,000. Then you have government ministers taking a pay increase of $2,600, and that amounts to how much you said? $24,000.
$24,000 a year.
A year.
Mm-hmm.
And you have 15 of them, right?
Yeah.
And
well, I'm not sure on the amount. Let me double check the amount of them. No, go ahead.
And then you're just disclosing that over $199,000 has been spent on equipment for a particular ministry. Now, explain to me, is it where $199,000 on equipment for? Isn't that a bit exorbitant for one ministry? And I'm sure that there are a number of ministries that would need equipment, that would need all of the things, all of it, need to be upgraded. How is it that you could spend so this over $200,000, $500,000 in 5 months traveling, and then you have government ministers taking a pay increase? That amounts to how much dollars that could have been gone to pay the people you sent home without a dollar. There are people that would be unforgiving because of this situation. This is unforgivable. You can't do poor people these things, and then they don't want you to use poor people. They don't want you to say vulnerable. What they want you to say, rich. Everybody in the world could be rich. I mean, yes, people could do things to improve their life, but at the same time, the government is there to cater for the needs of the people who cannot afford, who have not the ability to do things that the law is, everybody wouldn't be lawyer, everybody wouldn't be doctors, everybody wouldn't be, journalists or whatever. So the government is there to cater for that and to increase, the standard of living of persons. So at the end of the day, all this lavish spending, and you sent home people without a dollar. And listen, you spend almost $200,000 in a ministry of the man who is allegedly having relations to the bubble and the put. Now tell me something. And there are people that are going to defend this nonsense. People that are going to defend this nonsense. This is crazy to me. And then what about the young people? You break down the amount of money and talking about you hoping that the youth, that the businesses would employ the youth, would employ them. So you break down on the amount of money in terms of the money program. So you first of all, the current Prime Minister has been lying from day one. So he lied about that one. He knows, he just went in there and you cannot employ them permanently, all of them. Right? So you lie for them. I wonder if the youth would be unforgiving too. Because there's so much things that you could say. So much nonsense happening in the last 6 months. Unforgivable. Especially to the people like me who was sent home without pay. And this is unforgivable. You pay people, especially the people on the ground. They're the ones that have all the children that will come back and vote you out in 2025.
Well, if they last that long. If they last that long, that's why I say eternal vigilance. Yeah, eternal vigilance. You have to always be ready.
Yes, and then look, you look at what you're doing with the road workers. 2 fortnights, and then they're talking about Keith was giving handouts. Dr. Mitchell was giving handouts. You can't say these things. Handouts to people who are working for their money. Working for their money, and then look, you talk about the seed program and how they're looking to graduate people from it. My goodness, graduate them when the children finish school, because this is the money that people using, that persons are using to help their children go to school, bus, and buy stuff for them. Look, you say free education, but all the schools and them beg for down to box of chicken, case of malt, everything you could think about the school was begging for. And you say free education, right? But parents had to dip in their pockets and give the schools contributions, which I'm sure most parents don't mind doing. Dip in their pockets to give contributions to the schools, and the government said that is free education. The parents should have no right to be dipping in their pockets. The government should be giving their schools whatever they need, because you said free education. You hear me?
All
so
right.
A lot of shopping is taking place, and people they have to start opening their minds and getting wise to what's happening. You understand? All the time they had Dr. Mitchell as a big liar, a big thief, but they come now and they meet money in the treasury and they lavishing it. And might go and beg now for how much? $250 million, in some financial bill I hear coming up, allegedly. Beg for money now. When you meet money then you could have managed it wisely. But you go and travel. $100,000 a month for traveling them, Mr. Scott? That's madness.
All right, my dear.
Crazy.
Thank you so very much for your contribution.
You're welcome.
All right. And let me say this, huh? And let me just make sure the phone line is clear. So you can still call, folks, 440-7377 and 347-329-3101 if you're outside of Grenada. So it's 14 of them in total, but only 13 get the increase at 24,000 per person. So that should be roughly about $312,000 additional in salaries for government ministers. So they're getting $312,000 a year more than the new National Party ministers were getting. Let me just make that clear. That's what they're getting. $312,000 more than what the new National Party ministers were getting. Then remember, they have some people that they're shoving in places like the MIT ministry, because when you hear the MIT ministry has not been around for that long. You've just had the announcing of that ministry just a couple months ago. And already in that short space of time, salaries are 0.6 million. Salaries are $639,946.37 in just not even 6 months, just a couple months within that ministry. And that's not a ministry that is something like how you had Imani, so you have the staff and then you have trainees under the ministry, 3,000 or 4,000 trainees under the ministry that are receiving a stipend that become parts of your salaries and allowances. This is a new ministry that I'm pretty sure their staff ain't cross 40 people, if it's as much as that. Yeah? And already in salaries and allowances, well, at least that's what they say, unless they are giving salaries and allowances for the full year. But they didn't say that. Yeah, they said salaries and allowances so far, 0.6 million, $639,946.37. That's what they are saying. Yeah? So we have to understand what's going on here. We have to understand what's going on here. And the fact that they are trying to hide information from you, the Grenadian people, and the more they try to hide it, we will make it our responsibility to bring that information out to you. They have a responsibility, legal responsibility, to answer these questions. So, the first part of the questions have generally been answered. Some have been answered broadly. But if you all know Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Claudius Mitchell, you all know that those questions is standing like that. You all know that he will ensure that he gets proper responses to these questions. All right? Nice. 440-7377.
All you fretting me.
Yeah, police officers, they rushing that how much months to meet and discuss pay and grade. All you better talk to all your people on the joint negotiating team. Make sure that all you make them understand that all you ain't standing for stupidness. Yeah.
Fretting me.
So they have a report from Ernst and Young or whatever they are, yeah.
Don't fret me, don't fret me, don't fret.
So they better come good, eh? Officers are asking for the pay and grade.
Hey, right up there. Say what? Any tiffin man.
All right, Cynthia, so you're out there in Carriacou. Say hello to my relatives over there for me.
If you come and me then.
So on Thursday, I was just about to raise that one, Antonio. On Thursday, the 2 weeks up, So all your ministers that ain't declare all your assets yet, I hope that instead of listening talking points tonight, all your day with pen and paper, making sure that all your documents fill out properly to bring to the Integrity Commission. Also, remember it is an offense to provide false or fake information to the Integrity Commission. Let me say that again. It is an offense, as in you can find yourself in the court if you are found to have made a false declaration. And remember, some elements of that declaration go back 3 years ago. So if you know you had a look, and don't think it's just the ministers, all Django and the advisors and them, yeah, they will have to make a declaration as well. They're not making it this Thursday, but they will also be called upon to make declarations to the Integrity Commission. All right? That is the law that the new National Party put in place, and that the new National Party make sure we face. No, no, we did not ask for no 2-week extension. We make sure we do the documents and we bring it in. Yeah? We get your certificate, they review everything, they check with the bank, they check with the credit union, they check, and they review and they send back a document for you. You've been cleared. Nice? So let me hope that some of them could get clear. Let me hope some of them could get clear, because it's our particular ministers are really interested in knowing really interested in knowing what information they're going to bring from the financial institution to give to the Integrity Commission. It's our one particular minister. Oh God, we bouncing low. So what's the time is up on Thursday? 2 weeks, because it's 2 weeks ago they asked for an extension, so I believe the extension ends on Thursday, unless they asked for the extension earlier. They couldn't ask for it later than the date, unless they asked for that extension earlier, in which case the 2 weeks would be up either today or yesterday or tomorrow or so. But other than that, the date that they're supposed to bring in their stuff is on Thursday. So the 11 or so ministers that have not done so, they have to bring it in. The same ones that right now, they have the 312,000 additional onto the salaries on a yearly basis, onto the cabinet salaries, yeah? $312,000 additionally.
All your friends in me. Yeah. Think about it. We are walking so.
Meanwhile, these are the same people that saying that they love people in the public service and they love this one and they love that one and so. Yeah? And they love people. You have people that work under the faith program. They don't like us to talk about the faith program. Because when you multiply 350 by the lowest salary, 800, and you check over 2 years, you just understand where the amount of money that they're speaking about from faith went. But they continue because they want to make it look like something corrupt take place there. But if all you realize they back away from faith, talking about faith now, they only make about 2 or 3 brief statements concerning faith in the whole debate taking place at Parliament and so. Yeah? They're afraid to talk about it now because they realize they have been exposed. They have been exposed when it comes to what they have done to those hundreds of people that were working under the faith program that they refused to pay. Yeah? If I am building a house, I hire you and you contract 1 or 2 people. And when the time comes to pay you, I refuse to pay you. You can't pay the people? You can't pay the people, yes. You could say legally the responsibility is the responsibility of the contractor to pay the people. But morally, you know it's your responsibility to pay the contractor so you could pay the people. And that is what is happening here. They know for a fact that it is their responsibility to pay the contractor to pay the people. Instead of telling the people, go by the contractor, who they know is a non-profit organization. And in fact, one of the only non-profit organizations that is properly registered in the state of Grenada, they need to check it. They are one of the only ones that is properly registered. A lot of the non-profits you're hearing and all kind of thing out there, they're not properly registered. But this one is. So they're afraid to talk about faith right now. They have lost faith. So they ain't talking about faith right now. Yeah? The only other 1 or 2 idiots that has come up and talk about it now and again because they're too dunce. You can't really teach them anything. Their brain dense. Information can't get in. Nonsense comes out, but information can't get in. They have soaked themselves in the river of stupidity. Yeah? So you can't really get information into them. So they are the ones that you see come up every now and talking about faith. From the army of idiots. Come up and talk about faith this and faith that and all kind of thing. Because common sense doesn't dwell there. Yeah? So remember, when Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell made his declaration, so the Integrity Committee came out and he said, this is how much money I have. are still waiting to hear if Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell, who want to give the impression that he more decent than everybody, he more blessed than everybody, he's better than everybody, are still waiting on him to come out and say how much he have. I'm interested in knowing. Because I want to make a comparison between then and by the time he's voted out of office. I want to make a comparison. And then I want to gauge that with the salaries. So you can see if anybody was, you understand? So you want to gauge their salaries, you want to gauge them thing and then be able to, Because it's not only them could go to the Integrity Commission and FIU, All of we could go to the Integrity Commission and FIU. All of us could go and do what we need to do and bring whatever information we need to bring to the FIU and that sort of thing in relation to this issue. Yeah? So it's not one set of people. It's all of us that could do it. Folks, we'll be closing off in a short while. 440-7377 347-329-3101. And remember, tomorrow night we'll be having a special guest on with us. They'll be on, not in studio with us, but they'll be on via Zoom. We know how to do we thing. We go fix up we thing and I'll do my thing. I'll bring my thing so and I'll put my thing so and we will have a guest on with us tomorrow and we're discussing the budget. They don't want us to talk about that. They don't want us to talk about the fact that they increase your water bill. Yeah? They don't want us to talk about the fact that they increase your NIS. Listen, the salary you're getting right now, and if government pay, if they finally pay on the 15th as they're supposed to pay, if they pay when they're supposed to pay, some people ain't getting any money till next week. But anyway, if they pay when they're supposed to pay, which is Thursday coming, the same day some of them have to face the Integrity Commission. Don't ask for no extra time, All you had much months, right? Incompetence, right? If they pay, the salary that you receive now, understand what's going on with that salary next year. You're going to be losing some money off of it because you're paying additional for NIS. Your water rate is increasing, so you're going to pay additional for the water rate. Your electricity is going to increase, so you're going to pay more for the electricity. Right? So that's already payments that are coming out. Additional payments coming out your salary. The price of sugar going up, they can say what they want. Every household in Grenada have sugar and will continue to buy sugar. So you're going to be paying more for that and products made using that. Right? Now we just chewy chicken and all kind of thing. You understand? That's West Indian cooking. Right? So every household is going to have to pay additional. There is more money coming out your salary again. That not coming out now, but will be coming out next year. So additional NIS, additional for water, additional for electricity, right? You're going to be paying additional for sugar. The price of flour is going to go up again. As the war continues in Europe, and now you head into the winter months, which is not the months that does be cutting wheat and all kind of thing. As the supply reduces, it means that the price of flour is going to go up internationally and it's going to go up here in Grenada as well. So the price that you pay for bread, the price that you pay for baked products, the price that you pay for flour itself, and all of that is going to go up. Right? So there's more money out of your salary again. Right? On top of that, the price of feed to feed animals that comes from Ukraine and Russia and those areas, because of what is going on there, the price of that is going to increase, which is going to increase the price of production of poultry. And remember, you also have the increase in water, so the poultry farmers who are producing locally, they have to pay more because there's no exemption for farms and so under this thing as far as I've seen. I've not seen any exemption for agriculture when it comes for water and the water rate increase, or even to say that you're giving some kind of concession through NOWASA to the farmers that are doing that. So it means that the price of local chicken is going to increase because the feed, the water, and the electricity is going to increase. So again, more money out of your pocket. Yeah? So they want you to discuss that. They don't want you to talk about those aspects of the budget. Yeah? Where you could have made your confectionaries here in Grenada and avoid having to buy the chips and all these things from outside, they have made it more difficult now. So you can't have the locally produced. You have to buy the foreign because it's much cheaper. And they have not put any protecting measures in place to protect the small local industry from having to deal with these cheaper items coming from outside of Grenada. But as I said, tomorrow night, we're going to be having a discussion with a guest. We'll be putting out the thing in the morning, letting you know who the guest is. We'll be having a guest on with us, and we will be discussing budget 2023. One of the things that they don't want us to discuss, they don't want us to discuss it, we're going to discuss it. That's tomorrow night. Remember to tune in early. It's going to be a very interesting and a very deep program. We're going to go into different aspects of the budget and how you do budget and so on and what you can expect in 2023. My name is Sheldon Scott. It's been wonderful being here with you. And of course, I always love interacting with each and every one of you. In everything you say and everything you do, I want you to keep it safe. I want you to be secure. Yeah? If you have to go home and you're not home, take your time. Reach home safely. All right? Wherever you are, whatever you do it safe and secure, because I want to be speaking to and with you tomorrow. And not about you, but just before I go, I have to remind you all of something, Yeah, remember the Sunset City, they're having that activity coming up. Let me just get a reminder, the date here. That is taking place on Thursday. All right? So Thursday, December 15th, the same day then people have to go into the integrity thing in the Integrity Commission. Remember the Sunset City Christmas Fiesta is taking place there. And that is starting from 5 p.m. Diamond Street in St. Mark. Make sure you are there. All right? So folks, as I said, that's all the time we have for tonight. It's been wonderful being here with you. In everything you say and do it safe and secure. I want to be speaking to and with you and not about you. I am out of here. And you know what? Let me just play that song for all of you out there.
Whoa.